Real Talk 360, and we're back once again. Thursday, what's today, the 19th? Yeah, the 19th.
Is it?
Thursday, November 19th.
Oh my gosh, what happened to the whole month?
We were on vacation.
What's this?
That's what happened.
This is we stuff, man.
Yeah, that's what happened. But we're back. We're back. Regardless of the fact, we are back once again.
I got a tan. I just got a lot of clothes on right now.
Yeah, you can't really tell.
I got a tan. Well, burn or no?
Yeah,
it's
burn.
No, it's a tan.
And I got my voice. So same way he got his tan, I got my voice. But what's been going on?
Nothing. Vacation, man.
Vacation. How was it?
I've been through that dance cruise. 2015. That was awesome, man.
How was it? What did you think?
I think that I need more energy to go back on it, man. I don't know how I don't know how you did it. I don't know how he did it. I'd be like sleeping 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, open my eyes, and Julio just walking around.
Yeah, it was a pretty good time. The event itself, man, for those that have not attended, the guy that organizes it, Moshe Razier, he goes all out, man. When we talk about event planning, when we talk about, I'll be seeing cats here locally in Rochester trying to put together just a hip-hop, not a hip-hop night, a Latin night or something for just 4 hours and have a hard time doing it.
Dude, he left no
Can you imagine
stone
72
unturned.
hours?
He left no stone unturned. I actually walked around, and every time I walked around, I looked at the boat and every little thing. I didn't look for flaws, but at the same time, like, this dude really left no stone unturned.
Yeah, no matter
it looked like he owned the boat. Because,
Yeah.
they went in. They really went in on this.
No matter where you went, no matter what area of the boat you were in, there was music, whether it was bachata, salsa, merengue, freestyle, hip-hop.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what it was. There was
Kizomba.
Music, yeah, kizomba.
Whatever it's called.
Everything. There was everything. So it was definitely a great time. And I'm already booked for 2016.
I need to gather my thoughts first.
You got to gather your thoughts. I say I'll reevaluate it by ADC 2035. I'll see how I'm feeling in another 20 years. If my body's still going and I can still do 72 hours
I think my
straight,
age hit me because I was done, dude. I was like...
I mean, you literally went from your 30s to your 40s on the boat.
Yeah, man. Well,
on the boat, so you aged quickly.
Well, the thing is, I partied a lot all my life, so it's... Partying was... My body's taking a big toll as it is. But those first 2 days in Miami walking, me going on my little tangents and walking, I should have never done that because my ankles and my knees were gone. Yeah. So when I got on the boat, I was like... With my cigar, just puff on a cigar, have a drink, and it was tough. I mean, you have to work to have fun on this boat. You really do.
And then the thing is you want to enjoy every minute, and you still don't get to enjoy every minute because there's so much going on. That so
it's worth it for anybody. It's a bucket list, and do it.
Yeah, definitely something to do. Somebody commented on on one of our pictures. What was it? Hashtag middle-aged spring breakers.
My boy, Alex, he hit it up. He goes, middle-aged spring breakers.
But that's what it is.
He called us middle-aged spring breakers.
Well, what was wrong with? There's nothing wrong with that, right? When do you stop enjoying life?
Nah.
Do you stop enjoying life at 40, at 50, at 60? I say I stop enjoying life when I'm dead.
No doubt.
Then I won't enjoy it no more. Then I'll enjoy whatever comes after. But until then, I'm going to enjoy it, even if I lose my voice.
Well, I just got my voice back last Saturday, so.
So definitely want to check that out if
they had
doing anything next November.
They always have live professional performances. This isn't like some guys off the street. They had Jerry Rivera, Imai Miranda, Bachata Heights, Jay Alvarez.
Yeah, so it was definitely
great performances. Jerry saying happy birthday to me. I was ecstatic.
That was dope.
Well, what happened was I got ready early. I was excited. I'm like, yo, Jay's about to say happy birthday for you, right? So then I said, let me go with my cigar and my little canteen. I'm going to go up on the upper deck and just chill. Hardly nobody was out. It was pretty empty. The festivities haven't started. Everybody's in their rooms getting ready. The all-white party. I'm already ready. My shirt says straight out of the 30s, right? So I get back and I'm like, let me close my eyes for a little bit. I had a little drink. I was drinking water. I said, let me drink water because I'm getting too messed up here and I want to be up for this whole thing. So then I close my eyes, open. I'm like, where the hell did all these people come from? I was surrounded by everybody. I'm like, did I miss the show? I opened. I'm like, okay. No, I ran down. I left my canteen there. I left my cup, my bottle somewhere else. And I just had a blast. And everything was still there when I went back. So.
Oh, yeah. No, nobody touches anything. It's just a good time. I mean, to be able to have 2,700 Latinos drunk out of their minds.
Not just Latinos.
Well, mostly Latinos.
There was 87 different countries representing.
The people from Korea. them people.
Yeah, they got in.
Yeah, they got it in. You figure Brazil. I mean, but there's a lot of Latinos.
Italia.
Yeah, Italy, Canada. But to have that many people, that much partying, and people obviously drinking, and not one fight, that's a testament to
I
the
heard
kind
of 2 altercations.
atmosphere.
Did you hear of them?
No, I didn't hear about them.
It was a shorty getting mad at her man. I was like, yo, dude, don't bring sand to the beach if you can't hang out. I don't know, something happened. I don't know if he was looking or he danced or something, but apparently she caused a scene.
Huh.
Yeah, and I heard it was 2 of those like that. A woman getting upset with her man, and that was it.
Because he's looking at the women.
Probably. I mean, there was a lot of eye candy.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Hey, but it is what it is. Make sure you check it out. What else has been going on? What's been going on locally? I mean, 65-degree weather. That's something that's pretty crazy for November.
Yeah,
last year, you remember?
Snow by the time we go out there.
I know. You remember last year, though, right?
Around this time, right?
Yeah, last year, Buffalo had,
it was around this time.
7 feet of
7
snow.
or 8 feet, yeah.
Yeah, 7 feet of snow. I think we had probably about a foot. But
no, they got hit bad.
I'll take 65-degree weather anytime.
But it's supposed to snow what, Monday?
Yeah, it's a Sunday, but like some flurries or whatever, that'll be melted quick.
It's gonna happen. Might as well get it over.
Ain't nothing to worry about. It's Rochester though, so you're right. We can leave here, and there could be a foot of snow on the ground.
Do it, but I came back to this gloomy ass city, and I'm like, I'm so used to the clear skies now, and the clear water, and I gotta get out of here.
You didn't go to Durant?
I went to
Durant. Water's clear.
Yeah.
Durant, Sherlock, come on now.
Yeah, sure.
Don't be hating on your city. It's where you live.
Fish.
It's where you live.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, we just keep doing what we're doing. Like I said, we were off a couple of weeks, so hopefully you didn't miss us. Pretty sure that our executive producers replayed some old stuff. So you got to at least watch or catch up on.
You didn't play the one where I choked out on, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't what they should have played.
He's a team player. I like him.
That's the one they should have played.
I like him.
But
No.
And now
Why
we're
you gotta
back.
go there?
And now we're back, basically going right back to what we do and what we've built our show on. And it's basically, Real Talk 360. It's about overcoming adversities. It's about persevering. It's about having everything but the kitchen sink, or with the kitchen sink thrown at you, and still being able to rise above it and still be able to come about and bring something positive to the forefront. And tonight we have a very special guest.
Very special guest.
Someone that's not just a guest. He's definitely someone I consider a very good friend, and someone who was persevered through a lot of the stuff that we've seen, that we're seeing going on in the streets. And we're going to talk about his story and the things that he went through and where he's at now. And even more importantly, where does he see himself in the future? So that's going to be coming up in a few more minutes. Until then, football. What's going on with football?
Well, my team's doing pretty damn good.
Doing pretty good.
Your team's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yo, he hasn't thrown that many. Yo,
no, he hasn't.
See, you're never happy with
He
your
hasn't.
team.
No, but come on now. We lost how many games by less than a touchdown? By a
Wait.
field goal.
You lost by okay. You
field
lost
goal.
by a foot, right? So they Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey.
She lost by a foot too. Foot to the neck.
That was crazy though.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. But that kind of solidified what I've been saying all along, is UFC is really nothing.
You crazy.
It's nothing.
crazy.
A boxer came up in there and whooped her butt. That was a boxer.
No doubt.
That was a professional
no doubt.
boxer.
No doubt.
And here she is calling out Mayweather. Mayweather would have, I don't condone a man hitting a woman, but Ronda Rousey was asking for it. Mayweather should have gave it to her too. Because
I think Ronda Rousey
you better know your place, you better know your position. And
it was a good fight.
I watched the fight. Yeah, it was good. It was good for Holmes or whatever. Holly, yeah, because she beat the living.
Yo, and it was like a strategy. She had it mapped down. She stuck to her guns.
She just boxed.
Did she box?
All she did was box.
Because the only other time she kicked is when
she moved.
She turned around and
when she turned around, that's when she finished it.
She schooled her. She played her hard. And Ronda just fired her boxing coach, and hopefully she get another one. Maybe it's Mayweather.
Yeah, she better get Mayweather.
But no, I'm looking forward to the rematch. I know Ronda's already said she was going to take some time off before this fight anyway.
Well, she broke a jaw.
No, she broke her lip.
Or broke her lip?
Yeah.
I heard she had to have some surgery or something like that.
No, they had to take her for concussion precautions, but
Plastic surgery.
Yeah, plastic surgery.
On her lip. It was split, from what I understand.
Okay.
But, I mean, she was taking some serious hits. But she better come back with a different game. And if she can't outbox her, she better out-grapple her and out-wrestle her.
Like I said, UFC is just a fad.
No, it
Boxing
isn't.
is where it's at.
See, we agree
And
on
I've
boxing. When it
always-
comes to UFC, we
Always-
just have our differences.
I've always said UFC
It's
is
the biggest upset.
Right
People
now-
are calling it the
all right.
biggest upset since.
Well, they needed it, right? They probably needed something like that because what else does UFC have
You're
right
crazy. They got McGregor. They got a whole bunch of people
now?
over
Who's
there.
McGregor? Never heard of him.
Because you don't watch it. You don't watch UFC. You don't even give it a chance.
Well, anyway.
Only time that he watches with John Jones on it because he's from here, from the Rock.
Yeah. Anyway, this Saturday.
This
Saturday.
It's a Puerto Rican holiday.
Yeah, Puerto Rican holiday. Puerto Rico takes on Mexico
Again.
for the championship.
No.
I know. Well, yeah, it's still a championship because if Canelo wins, he wins
gets the title.
The championship. He wins the title.
I-
Cotto did it smart.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about that?
He did it smart. He did it smart.
I would've
He
paid
was
him
like-
$1.1
he was
million
like-
for
He was
fees.
like, you know what? You're going to charge me $1.1 million for a belt. He's like, I got like 10 belts in my house.
Yeah.
It's like a car. Like, you're going to take a car from me? I've got 10. What the heck does it matter if you take a belt? And that's De La Hoya and everybody and Mauricio Suleiman, who is the head of the WBC, came at Cotto and said, hey, we're going to take your belt. We're going to take your title. And Cotto was like, there you go.
There you go.
Take it. But it's funny and it's ironic that it happens a few days before his fight. And to me, that was kind of like a mind game to get up in his head to make him kind of just, distracted.
See, the one thing that's different between Cotto and Trinidad, Cotto does not brag, he does not boast, he does not look for celebrations. I told you when I was in Puerto Rico in Caguas when I was vacationing, he owns a lot of stuff over there. So I was talking to one of the guys over there. He's like, Cotto's not like Trinidad. Trinidad expects the ticket parade. He wants all that. He's very Boricua pride. Cotto's very quiet and reserved. He can really care less about that. He wants his legacy more than he wants anything else.
Yeah, he just wants to fight.
Yeah.
That's it. He just wants to fight. He don't care about.
You can't do nothing but respect that.
Yeah, and that's what it is. That's what a boxer's supposed to do. Let the businessman handle the business, and he boxes. But it's funny that De La Hoya tried to call him out, and I like the fact that Cotto stood up for himself and said,
You pay it.
Yeah, you pay it. You want it? You pay it.
1.1.
I'm good.
It wasn't like 300,000 or 100. $1.1 million in sanctioning fees.
So it's going to be a great fight. I'm going with Cotto in 5. I think that Canelo overtrained. I think that Canelo, I think he put more into this fight than he needed to. And as a result, it shows. I seen a picture of him a couple days ago, and he looks awful. Like, he looks
Canelo?
awful. Canelo, to me, in my opinion, looks awful. Cotto looks ready. But we'll see. It's boxing.
I say
And
8 to 10 rounds. If it goes a distance, Cotto.
Yeah, I'm going for a fifth round. Fifth round
That's
knockout.
what I'm saying. In Vegas, it's crazy.
Fifth round
because
knockout. Cotto
He's got to
cannot-
do 8. I think if he's going to do between the 8th and the 10th.
Cotto can't afford to go into the late rounds in Vegas against Canelo. Canelo is a strong puncher, and Cotto cuts very easily. Ever since the Margarito or the Margachito fight, Cotto cuts very easily. He's got a lot of scar tissue, and I don't want to see him go into the 8th, 9th, 10th round. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Not to say he can't pull it off, but I think that if he catches, and the strategy, what I've been seeing Freddie Roach doing with Cotto lately, is he's a lot more powerful body shots.
Yeah.
And what I'm hoping is that he catches Canelo early on with a strong body shot and breaks him down from there. Hopefully by the 5th or 6th round, takes him out of his misery.
They say
That's
that
what I'm
Cotto's
hoping.
bigger than him. I thought the other way.
No,
I thought
Cotto's
Canelo-
smaller, but I
yeah,
think
thought
Cotto
Canelo-
looks bigger than him. Canelo's naturally bigger and taller than Cotto.
That's what I'm
Naturally.
saying. Okay.
Yeah, Canelo's a true middleweight. Cotto's a welterweight.
What's their
Like
reach? Do
middleweight.
you know the reaches?
Nah.
We'll
No, I
find
don't
out
know the
that
exact
night.
reach. So we'll find out that night. But definitely, that's going to be a great fight. Looking forward to that. That's been the highlight of boxing for me, pretty much.
I mean, for all the
since they
disappointments
announced
we've
it.
had for a while now in boxing,
Yeah, since they announced it. So,
I'm hoping. I'm not hoping. I know we're gonna have a great fight.
So I'm looking forward to that. The Giants have a bye week, so we
I
cannot
got a bye week
lose.
too.
We cannot lose this week.
What
the
did he say?
Bills have to play New England.
Y'all better
on
beat
Monday
them, man.
night.
Please beat them.
On Monday night.
I'll go for y'all, man.
that's-
Just beat them, please.
That's going to be a tough game, but I'm hoping the fact that we took Edelman out of the game
Thank you.
helps. Right? I'm hoping that helps. The fact that we kind of warmed down, but I just can't stand seeing Brady's face.
Nah.
That face on the sideline.
You know,
see
if
he's
I can-
crying.
if I
he's
can-
about to be crying.
Yeah.
And then a second later, they kick a field goal, and my man is like,
Yeah.
like nothing happened.
He's
Like,
been saved by
you
so
were just
much.
about to
If
cry.
I can Photoshop Ronda Rousey out and put him in and get that kick to the neck, I'd be happy. I'd be happy.
But yet,
like, that's how much I can't stand Brady.
But yeah, who's your quarterback in fantasy?
There was nobody else. I had to get him.
So you,
I got Ben.
So quietly,
I got Ben.
So quietly, you root.
I got Ben. He's been
You
hurt.
root for Brady on the low.
Dude, this fantasy football.
You root for Brady on the low.
No, I don't.
You sure?
You
sure?
Listen, man.
You sure?
How are you doing in the league?
You sure? I don't care about
Yeah,
it.
I know you don't
I haven't
care.
even. Bro, I haven't checked my lineup since like week 2.
I know.
So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But
Whatever.
the fact that you got Brady on your team,
That doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. I'm
That's
just saying.
fantasy football.
So if it's all that's left is Brady to play, right? That's it. That's all you need to beat somebody. You're not gonna be rooting for Brady to go all out. Okay, that's it.
Is there a commercial break coming up?
So with that
You just put me on
said,
the fence hard.
with that said, we're about to go into a commercial break. When we come back, we are about to be here with our special guest, Hiram Hernandez Jr., co-founder and CEO of First Capital Payments. We're going to find out what First Capital Payments is all about, but more importantly, we're going to find out what Hiram Hernandez Jr. is all about. And we'll be back. World Talk 360. Stay tuned. We'll be back with you in a minute.
This is his show.
All right, we're back. Real Talk 360 once again. Want to welcome our special guest today, CEO and co-founder of First Capital Payments, Mr. Hiram Hernandez Jr. Want to thank you for being on the show, Real Talk 360. So what's going on, man?
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rick and Julio, for having me on board.
Dude, we're excited. We've been wanting to get you out here for a while. When I see you at the festival,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, we gotta have you on the show. I was like, me, I'm like, dude, you're an inspiration, believe it or not.
Right,
No,
right.
dude, you really are.
And I think that's what Real Talk 360 is all about, man. It's about, oh yeah, he definitely cut him off. It's
Yo, what are you
about-
doing? You see how they treat me?
It's about being able to like when you hear the Drake song started at the bottom, no, it's literally about starting at the bottom. So what I want to do is I want to kind of talk a little bit about where you grew up. Where did you grow up?
I grew up on Bay and Roar Street.
Bay and Roar. So for those that don't know, that's Bayway. It's part of the Crescent. It's part of probably one of the most violent neighborhoods. There's a lot of violent neighborhoods in Rochester, unfortunately. But Bay Street definitely is synonymous with that, and that's where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up there.
All right, and this is we don't want to age you, but we're talking about the '80s,
Right,
We're
right.
talking about the '80s. So what was life like back then on Bay and Roar?
Well, I mean, just to kind of back it up a little bit, I mean, we moved to originally I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And we moved here in '82.
Okay,
And then we originally moved to Laser Street, and then we ended up moving to Bay Street back in like '83, '84, around there. And I was just a kid at that time,
No
And-
English.
Right. I learned English. I went to SO, went to
SO,
36
right. Yeah, I was
school
gonna
and
say
everything,
SO.
yeah. So I learned English here. That's right. And then it wasn't until like the '90s.
I don't mean to cut you off, but SO, some of the people in school used to look at, oh, that's the slow kids. I'm like, no, that's the class with the pretty girls from Puerto Rico.
Right.
you better recognize.
Right. Hell yeah. So back in and then from the '80s to the '90s was when kind of like drugs kind of like started taking over. Probably like '88, '89. Maybe there was drugs in the '80s or whatever, but I wasn't really.
That's when it started really like being in your face.
Right.
Type, like,
Right.
out there. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Back. Back in
Cause
there.
that's the way it was. I grew up. I was in the Bronx around that time, and that's the way it was, man. It just felt like from night to day, it was like, what the heck is going on? And you started seeing the effects
Right.
of the drugs and the crackheads and
Right.
all of the things that were coming about because of the things that were going on.
Right.
As a result of the drugs.
I mean, I remember like, man, I know a lot of stories from like that's about people using drugs. I remember as a kid, we used to play, football, two-hand touch, when the cars, whatever. And there was this guy. Remember the Cadillacs back in the day, the long
Oh, yeah,
Cadillacs,
long
like
ones.
the
Yeah.
'80s or whatever. Like was it the
70s.
DeVille?
The DeVille with the wheel in the back?
Exactly. Yeah, one of those. And he used to always shine it up, and he used to always get mad at us because we were playing
Too close to it.
too close to the car. He didn't want us close to it or anything like that, And then probably like 5 years later, the same guy, he's like, you don't even recognize him no more, because he started experimenting with drugs and things like that. So, so I could definitely relate,
To that, and that's the reality of it. Because I know when I moved here in '93, I saw it. I saw a lot of it. And Rochester's small. Rochester is a real tight knit community in the sense that you can get from one side to another. If you know one person here, they know one person there, and more than likely you're going to interact with all the different neighborhoods.
Right.
So I got to see a lot of that firsthand. Now, where did you go to school?
I went to a few schools. Elementary, I went to 36 school, but then I started going to private schools, Catholic schools.
Okay.
And I went to St. Andrews. Then something happened there. I ended up going to 33 school. Then I went to Blessed Sacrament, Bishop Kearney, and then I ended up dropping out in East. And when I went to East,
Blessed Sacrament. Is that where you met Matt?
yeah, that's
okay.
when I met. Well, I knew Matt way before.
Okay.
We used to play baseball together.
Oh,
you
gotcha.
so, Yeah, but actually one of the reasons why I went to Blessed Sacrament was because Matt and everybody that was playing baseball at the time went to Blessed Sacrament, and I was fortunate enough at the time my parents, paid for me to go there.
Cool.
And whatnot.
Now, I remember back in the day, unless I'm mistaken, your dad had a grocery store
Right.
on Bay
Yeah.
Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Wait, which one? Not Carlos, right?
The other one, Tito's. On Bay and Roar.
Around the corner.
Oh my gosh, I forgot there was a store there. Oh my gosh, they knocked that down years
Yeah,
ago.
they knocked it down.
I forgot all about that.
That's right.
So how was that experience? I mean, did you find yourself working with your dad, or was it more like, am I going there because
I
you
mean,
can put me to work? Or?
Nah, I mean, at the time, yeah, my dad, he used me as much as he can to work for free.
Oh, yeah,
Never got
absolutely.
paid or nothing like that,
Yeah.
so, but it did teach me, a lesson as far as, money and things like that, and it did, a part of my business mentality came from that experience watching my father, in business and things like that. You know what
So
I'm
you
saying?
got to observe and you got to learn.
Right, exactly, absolutely.
About business, and we're definitely going to talk about business because
Exactly.
you've been doing
Yeah.
some good things, great things in business. So you're growing up, on Bay Street. I know, Gilbert Ferrer.
Yeah,
hit up on
yeah.
Facebook. Oh, like,
Yeah,
oh, we used to play
yeah.
baseball together.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, whatever. But you obviously know a lot of individuals. You have a lot of influence. How long have you known Tad? Like, you guys.
I mean, I've seen him around. I knew him for a long time. For a long time.
Because I
Yeah.
know that's how Rochester is. And I consider myself like an outsider.
Yeah.
But I know that, you knew my brother, Edido.
Oh, 100%.
Very well. And that's how, I think, that's how me and
Yeah.
you met. And that's how,
Yeah.
even though we really, I think, officially, like, started hanging out after the LDP.
Right,
We
right.
knew each other from before. It was
Exactly, but
mostly-
never. Yeah, it was more. Hey, I know
It
this
was
guy.
more
Whatever.
acquaintances
Yeah, exactly.
than
yeah.
anything else.
Right, for sure.
But when you look back and you look at a lot of the people you grew up with, like, what has changed? What are some of the things that you see different when you drive through Bay Street? I mean, do you see any differences? Do you see any changes? Like, what do you see?
I mean, to be honest with you, with the few times that I do ride by, my old neighborhood, obviously where I grew up on Bay and Roar Street, obviously there's not as much activity as it used to be.
Yeah.
Back in the '90s, all that has shifted apparently to like other, to other areas or whatnot. But I mean, I'm sure that it's still the same old, same old. The game never changed, only the players.
Yep.
That I learned that a long time ago. So there's no doubt in my mind that there's still,
Still going on. and it's-
illegal activity. There's still struggle. People trying, there's people that, you have the people that work every day, struggle, can't pay their bills. You got the people that, say, screw life, I'm just, this is, I can't work for, I don't care the minimum wage, $15. It's still not enough. I can make that in a day.
Yeah,
yeah. I can make what I make in a week in a few hours, So, yeah, I think that's still that,
Still problem. So let me ask you a question. When you were,
Mm-hmm.
that age, what was going through your mind? Because obviously we can look at where you're at now.
Right.
But
And what
did
were
you-
some of the challenges too?
Right. So I mean, my thing was this: is that when, when we moved into Bay Street, prior to all that, I come from like a good family. I had my mom was together. My mom and my dad, they were together and things like that. And they, we had a family. And then, with my father work and things like that. I mean, they were busy with the store and things, and he just kind of like lost focus, respectfully, because I don't want to throw him under the bus.
Yeah, no, but-
He just lost focus and things like that, and they started having, problems within the marriage, and then and at that time I'm like 12, 13 years old, and then, at that time I don't know what, I didn't know
You
what
don't
was going on.
understand,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what the hell was going on. I don't know what was going on, and I was going to a good private school, where that doesn't exist. Mommy and daddy are, you got a mom and dad, and we go on vacations and things like that.
Yeah.
And they got a nice car and everything like that. And I've just felt like I didn't fit in, in that environment.
Gotcha.
So I felt like I was in over my head over there. And I don't know what's going on at home, but the only thing I do know is that when I look out my window, there's people out there, friends, that, people my age that that they don't, we're just living life, the best way we can, and so they related to me when, they related to me, but when I was in school, they didn't really relate to me.
Yeah, gotcha. So
I was like an
it was two
outsider.
different environments.
Exactly. It was two different environments, and I felt like I feel more comfortable over here with these guys versus, going to the school. So I kind of chose like a different path. I chose that I feel more comfortable here and I experimented with, marijuana with,
Yeah, which
and
we all did.
exactly. And then that's when, things started changing for me, and selling drugs to me, at first, initially, I didn't really have to do it, but I just felt like it was like everybody was doing it, and it was like a sport to me. It wasn't really in the beginning, that's just, how I.
But it's funny you say that because it's true, and to that extent, we do become a product of our environment in
Right.
the sense that, especially when you're that young, your mind is still being molded and you're still growing and you're seeing so many things. You got things you're seeing at home, things you're seeing at school, and then you step out your front door and you got things that you're seeing there, and you kind of get caught up in that because at that age you're too young to really think about, oh, I'm gonna do this, to buy a house. I'm gonna do this. No, I'm gonna do this just for sport.
Right,
I'm gonna do it
exactly.
for sport. I'm gonna do it.
Well,
just
by
because-
default, he became a product of his environment. By
Yeah.
default, because
Right.
what he's seen, he was comfortable. Because mind you, you only spend so many hours a day in school with all the breaks that they get. But this is where you live, and this is what you see every day out your window.
Right.
When you step outside your house, when you go play with your friends,
Right.
this is what you observe, and that's what you end up becoming eventually.
Right.
Exactly. So
And yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much how it started for me. It wasn't, my parents, once they found out what was going on, it was a little too late, because once you're in, then, it's kind of very difficult.
no, yeah, but you got your mind made up at that point.
Right, exactly.
You feel like even if you're not older, you feel older. You're like, I can make decisions
Exactly.
for myself.
Try telling
you
a
know?
teenager how to
And-
change their mind, right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And I know. It's like, with a 16-year-old, my daughter about to be 21. I know that.
Yeah,
my
my
daughter, your
daughter
daughter went to
about to say,
school.
yep.
And it's crazy, but it's hard. And I think we grew up different. Like we grew up different. The environment that we grew up in, and the things that we saw, I think, were just different. Maybe because of the way that we established our lives and raised our kids.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but it just feels different than it was back then. So you out on the streets,
Right.
being a knucklehead, basically, right?
Right, pretty much. I mean, in the beginning, it was all, again, it was for the sport. It was just to have, just to kind of like quote unquote be down, if you would, And it wasn't until probably like 93, I had my parents had moved me to Florida to live with my aunt, and so
Thinking that would be the answer.
thinking that was the answer, just ship them away and go somewhere else, And then I went out there. I did my freshman year in high school there. I remember in Sanford, Florida, to be exact. And then and my aunt, she was just so strict that I just couldn't breathe. I said, I can't do this. I said, so I called my parents and said, look, I got to go back home, whatever the case may be. She couldn't put up with me because I was very, very aggressive, and to the point where she's like, look, he can't be here. He's got to go. So shipped me right back home here to Rochester. And then it was when I went to East, and after I dropped out of East, that's when it really got real for me. That's when really the streets was really like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And it was, an individual out there that that he told me, he was like, listen, man, basically in the street word, in the street terminology, is basically saying, look, stop bullshitting, and if you're gonna sell drugs and make money for it. You know what I'm saying?
Make it a sport.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that. If you're gonna do it, make money off of it. And pretty much taught me the game. Taught me how to do it all.
Gotcha. But that's the reality of it is no matter what you do, you better do it well and do it with a purpose.
I don't care if you're selling cookies.
Do it with a purpose.
Do it right.
Whatever you do, you have to do it well. So
Right.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick commercial, and then we're gonna talk about when we come back where that landed you,
Gotcha.
and then from there, where did you go?
Okay.
Because there's always that moment that defines us. That moment of that fork in the road where you either go right or you go left. So we're gonna talk about that defining moment for you when we come back. Real Talk 360. We'll be back in about another 2 minutes. All right, we're back. Real Talk 360 once again with our guest for this evening, co-founder and CEO of First Capital Payments, Mr. Hiram Hernandez Jr. And before we went on a break, we were talking about, just the trials and tribulations of growing up, growing up in the hood, and just seeing things and becoming a part of things that probably weren't the best of things, and I think we've all been there. Tiger's talked about his stories countless times, with his love for cars.
Whoa.
Well, you had a love for cars.
You never know who's watching.
You had a love for cars. It's okay. It's not
Yo, it's
anything
funny
wrong
because I
with
drove
that.
a car through Aurora when it was going through construction one time.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet down off the actual sidewalk. They were doing major construction years ago.
Yeah.
And my boy Tom was like, I want to take a car and just drive through it recklessly. I'm like, I'm not going to be in that car. Tom went right through that. And I was like,
So we talk about decisions that we make. So ultimately, the decisions that you made, where did they end? Where did they land you? Like,
I mean,
what was the result of the decision making?
right. So, when I decided to, run the streets, obviously, I got incarcerated. And, I got incarcerated twice. The first time I did shot camp. And to be quite honest with you, my whole thinking throughout the whole process was when I got caught, I said, well, I just want to go in and get out as quick as possible, without telling on nobody, but that's what I want to do, Wasn't thinking about changing or anything like that because I was so good at doing what I was doing that
get it over with and get back to
exactly,
business.
I got to get back to business, you know what I'm saying? So, I went up and I did shot camp. I was home in 10 and a half months or whatever the case may be. And, when I came home, it was business as usual, And, but one of the things that I did is that I'm going to be smarter. That's one of the things that I, that you always plan out. I'm like, change wasn't, I wanted to change, it crossed my mind, I want to try different things and things like that. But for the most part, I knew that I felt like I had another run in me, if that makes any sense. And so I said, I'm just going to be very smart. I'm going to work, and I'm going to do it on the side, and then this, that, and the third, whatever, boom, 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 and just do it like that, and see what I can do, and see how far, and hopefully, in my mind, get away with it, because in my mind, I never dreamed in a million years that I would go back to prison. So, the plan worked. It worked for a little while, and then eventually, what goes around comes around.
Caught up.
Got caught up again, and then this time, when I got caught up, that's when it kind of hit me, a little bit, because even leading up to that, there was a lot of events that was happening, a lot of weird things were happening in my life that normally wasn't happening, people running in your house, and and the police is shaking you down.
The heat was on.
The heat was on.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Signs.
a lot of signs was coming in that there's like, what, this isn't something ain't right here.
Right.
It's not supposed to be like this. And back then I couldn't understand it, but now I do. Now I can honestly say that. But back then you couldn't tell me nothing. I'm getting screwed. They're cheating me, and they're not playing fair, and all they want to do is lock me up. Everything, anything you can name. So, but that time, that violation, because what ended up happening was ended up with a violation and a new charge, with another drug possession charge along with a violation. So when that happens, basically you just sit in jail. There's no bail. You just got to sit in jail, in the county jail. You just got to wait. You got to wait. Go. Wait till your case is finish whatever they're going to do with you, and then you got to go talk to the state, the parole board, and then they decide what they're going to do with you. So it was a process, and I was just, that time right there, it just really gave me the opportunity to look at life from the outside in. You know what I'm saying?
Time to reflect.
Exactly. It was like, and I was reaching the age already at that time. Now we're talking, I'm like 23 years old. I got 2 kids. I got, they're starting to get big, and, I really wanted to change, so I said, you know what, I really gotta, this isn't making any sense to me. This part of the equation, just doesn't really make sense to me, So I started reflecting, just, seeing exactly what I did the first time versus, this time,
While you was in?
Right, exactly.
I mean, you got no but time.
Exactly, right, exactly. So, one of the things, that I was, looking into was, I wanted to get a good job. That's that was one of the things that I wanted to focus on, because when I was released the first time, there was a point in time where I was working. I was working. I was working at Century Safe.
Okay.
And I think I was making like $8 an hour, and that was a lot of money.
Especially back then.
Yeah, exactly. That was
Minimum
decent
wage
money.
right now,
Back then, the wage back then was $4 or $5.
Yeah, like $5.15 was
Yeah,
minimum
yeah.
wage. Yeah, and you know what? When I went through Kelly Services, is who I went through, and I started working there at Century Safe, and I was working the B shift, 3 to 11, and then I started, and then so I was working 3 to 11 shift, and I was like all in with them, man. Like I gave them my heart. I thought I was gonna retire there. That's what I wanted to do. My mind was set.
You want to grow in that
They
company?
got benefits. They got everything. I said, "This is it. I'm here, baby. That's it." So, and I remember I used to make $233 a week. That was my paycheck. And then we had some furniture that we had to pay $30 a week. So that brought me down to 200 already. Then I got to get gas. I had a little BMW from results of the game. A little Beamer or whatever. And ends just wasn't making it. It just wasn't making it meet. So I'm like, yo, this money ain't adding up, man. Delta Sonics at that time was $10. I got to wash my car. I need gas. Lunch
that money
and
blow
everything.
through quick.
Exactly, I'm done.
With 2 kids.
Where did the
with
money
2
go?
kids,
Yeah.
and I just the money just wasn't adding up. So I started working at a telemarketing company, selling freezer food services to people's home from 9 to 1. Right, it was you used to make the appointment, and if they sell, you get commission, and they pay you hourly from 9 to 1. Go home, change, and go to for the 3 to 11 shift.
Yep.
Right. So, but I was through Kelly Services, so I was trying to get a permanent position, with them.
Yeah.
But you got to, that's a process for that, right? So I'm talking to management. Hey, I'm here every day. Hire me. I'm ready. I just want benefits. I want this, that, and third. And their thing was like, we got you, whatever the case may be. And then to the point where I'm like, damn, man, I'm gonna start looking for another job, because they're not trying to give me this permanent position.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did do is they moved me to another department, whatever, and then there was this lady there that we used to work 3 to 11, and remember I got to be at work at 9 in the morning. So there you had to do like certain amount of units, like 1,100 units, of safes. I mean, you pounding them safes out. So we used to meet the number like around 1,100 or 1,200. We used to do that by like 9:40, 9:45, right? So what I used to do was I used to take out the garbage, clean up everything. While they're in the break room smoking cigarettes, I'll take all the garbage out, and then I'll leave, early.
Mhm.
I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I was tired. I want to be home, and it was a long,
quota.
yeah, it was a long day. So she caught wind of that, and to make a long story short, she made a big deal out of that, and it kind of like drove me out the door. She really put that. I was so upset, because I'm like, I'm doing everything here, and you running me out the door, So I found a new job, doing employee leasing, another sales job, just to kind of put in the repertoire, whatever. And I was doing good there, but they weren't paying me a lot. It was good work, but they was paying me peanuts. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to get experience and just trying to get some type of business experience and things like that. So when I got back the second time, I remember those things, and I'm like, I gotta focus on this and see what I gotta fix here, so I can, better myself.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that before I came home is that I wanted to, I was very, very adamant that I wanted a good job, So what I did is that, when the day came for me to be released, man, and I remember to this day, man, I was sitting in the cafeteria, and I was just nervous, because I was just nervous. I'm like, and I've never, you're supposed to be happy when
Yeah.
get really, you
Just
happy.
coming back out into the world.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm nervous, I'm like, wow, like, and I felt like I lost like 10 pounds right in the cafeteria, because I'm ready, I miss my family, I miss my kids, everybody, my wife, but, I don't feel, I feel different inside, but in any case, I went out and, I was released, and then, it took me a minute. I was released December 5th, 2000, and right before the holidays, and,
It's probably a difficult time.
exactly, difficult time, and things like that, and, it took me a while to find a job because I was being very, very particular as to, what I wanted to do, and,
And hard to get to with a criminal background.
exactly. So, one of the things I did do, is I called my old boss, and I told one of the things that, that on a side note is when I violated parole, they actually picked me up at the job,
Oh,
believe it or
gotcha.
not, so he had a sour taste in his mouth about that, but he understood the situation and things like that. So I reached out to him and I said, listen, I don't want a job. The only thing I ask is if they call you for referral, can I use you as a referral? He said, absolutely. When you were here, you worked, and I can't deny that. So I was
That's
like,
cool. So he looked out.
exactly. So I was like, all right, cool. If I need you, that's fine. So, so my, it got to the point where parole used to come to the house, and, my wife at the time we were married, they used to come and harass her and be like, why you with him? Get rid of him,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
exactly, all that stuff or whatever, but I had a plan, so in any case, I remember that, my father, at the time, he bought me this planner. I'm gonna lead this good segue to lead to First Capital. He bought me a planner, and he said, "Son, this is for you to write down when you have appointments for interviews." I was like, "All right, cool. Thank you." So I had that there, and then every Sunday I used to go look through the classified ads, and I used to and with a yellow pad, and I used to write down all the jobs I felt I qualified for. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I knew I wanted sales because I knew you get commission, and
Yeah,
that's
potential's
yeah,
there.
exactly. I want to control my own destiny, So I'm looking for all types of jobs, and one of the jobs that I found two of them. Right, one was for ADT customer service through Manpower,
Okay.
and then the second one, which I knew nothing about, it said expanding bank card company, looking for sales reps in the Rochester area with like 1 to 2 sales year sales experience, and base plus commission. And I was like, damn, this sounds good. I think I could finagle this, So, I called them up, and then I called them up like on a Monday, and they gave me a interview for not that Thursday, the following Thursday, and it was like a 5 o'clock in the evening, and it was at Witten Place Plaza, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
and I just wrote it down in my little thing, and I just kind of like left it there, boom, put it on my thing. And then Manpower, on the other hand, they were aggressive. Come on in, do this, do that, whatever the
ADT?
case. Yeah, for ADT, customer service for ADT, and they were paying like $11 an hour. And now back then that was good money too, So when I went to Manpower, the trick is that you got to take this test, customer service test, right? And depending how you do on the test is going to depend on what they're going to pay you. So, and the test is simple. Like basically, you put the headphones on and you press record, click, and then a person comes on and says, "Hi, my name is Julio Jordan. My phone number is blah blah blah," and you got to type all that, And if you don't get it, then you got to repeat it till you get it, whatever. And it gives you all types of different scenarios. People talking slow, people talking fast,
Yeah, gotcha.
and things like that. So. I ain't gonna lie, I struggled with the test, because I was like, what he's, so I,
We go back
I was like,
again.
hold
We
on,
go back.
so basically, when it was all said and done, they said, listen, we'll hire you, but, we can't get you at the high rate. We gotta like start you off at like the 8 something or whatever. And then I was like, you know what, man, I think it was like heaven sent something. It was like, I said, you know what, let me think about it, man. And I'm broke, bro. I need the money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I said, let me think about it, man. Because I started thinking about sitting behind the desk, and you know, is this gonna set me up for me to just get this job and then 6, 8 months later, it's not what I want to do and I'm back on the streets.
Back on the streets doing the same
Exactly,
thing
doing
again.
back on the street, you know, because the temptation was there all along. People are just waiting. They're like, whenever you're ready, I got you.
Yeah,
Whatever you
which-
want, I
and that's
got
one thing
you.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
is,
you know,
that's
through
something
all-
that doesn't
yeah,
go away.
yeah,
That's-
exactly. No, through all that, you know, they you know, it's
Someone with your boys like,
Exactly.
dude, you know you want to come back.
yeah, whenever you're
Look
ready.
how we
you know,
living. Look
yeah,
how we living.
Whenever you're ready, you know, it's, you know, and then, so I'm dealing with that, you know, too, you know, so, you know, but then all of a sudden I was very interested in this particular job, you know. So, you know, finally the day comes and I show up, you know, and again, it's 5 o'clock at night, and I go in and meet, you know, there's two individuals there, whatnot.
Who else showed up for an interview? Was it an open interview? Or was
Nah,
this
it
you?
was just me. It was just me there, and it was at 5 o'clock. And then the guy, they were from Pennsylvania, and the guy starts talking about, you know, credit card processing. And I don't know nothing about credit cards. I'm just oblivious to the whole thing, you know. And you know, he was like, what's happening now is that debit cards are coming into the marketplace, and that I did know. That I knew that debit, you know, was big and things like that. And then I asked him. I said, he said, oh, for every appointment that you make, you know, I'm going to give you $7, you know. And at the time, I'm like, well, I come from a telemarketing background. I could make appointments, you know. And then I said, 10 a day is
Well, you
$7.
were already making appointments for interviews.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Right,
so-
right. But you know, for businesses, to me, so I'm like, well, if I make 10 appointments a day, that's $70 times 5, that's $350. You know, I could work with that. I'm working with that number. You know, so I'm like, you know what I think I could do is, and then I asked him. I said, if I make a sale, you know, what will be my commission? He said, well, the average commission is about $500. So I
You're
was
like, wait a minute.
I was like, damn.
I need 10 a day of those.
Yeah, I was like, all right, then I was like, you know what, let's do it then. I was like, you know what, I want the job. He said, you want the job? I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, so come here tomorrow in the morning and we're gonna train you on how to do this. I was like, all right, fine. So I remember I went home and, you know, I told my lady, you know, I was like, I think I got a job. I didn't feel, I was like, I think I got a job. You know, I don't know. We're gonna figure it out somehow. We're gonna figure this out, right? And then, you know, my sister, you know, I love her to death. You know, she had a leased Toyota Corolla, and she let me use the car, you know.
To be able to go to work.
To
and
go
do
to
what
work,
you
you
do.
know, yeah. So I gets there in the morning, and, you know, the lady says, she was like, well, the best way to learn this business is being
Throw
out there in the
yourself in.
streets. You know, here's a folder with, you know, with scripts and things like that, and just call me in the evening, you know.
Go out there and get them. You're on your
Yeah,
own, kid.
exactly. And I'm like,
Sink or swim, right?
sink or swim, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I'm like, you know, all right, you know, my mind, I'm gonna make some appointments, you know, because if they, you know, they're gonna go out there with me, so I'm like, I gotta make some appointments, man. So I ran all of Rochester, you know, just trying to meet that goal, you know, of like 10 people, you know, and I knocked on like, man, I went to a lot of places, you know, and you know, I didn't know what I was doing, you know, but the only thing I was telling them was credit cards and, you know, and things like that, and I just want to come back with my manager, whatever, you know, I was just finagling it, you know, just pure will and tenacity, just getting me through the day, you know, but I managed to get like 10 people to say, yeah, you know, come back, you know. So, but in my mind, I'm like, this lady does not believe in me, you know, she doesn't believe in me. So I said, I'm not even gonna call her, I'm gonna wait for her to call me, you know. So like 5:30 goes, she calls me, and then, you know, she's like, hey, how did it go? And you could tell in her voice, she was like, this guy,
Yeah, he's not gonna be able to.
he ain't gonna make it.
He's gonna give up after
He's
today.
gonna
How'd
go.
it go?
How'd it
Okay,
go?
yeah, I
Right.
expected that. Bye.
Exactly, boom. So I was like, it went well, you know, boom, boom, boom. She's like, oh, really? You could see the tone on her voice, like, oh, shit, you know, this guy, you know. So I said, so she's like, all right, come back in the morning, and then we're gonna, you know, and we'll go over everything. I was like, all right. So I went back in the morning, and then, you know, I laid everything out, you know, and then basically just, all right, listen, you gotta show me how to do this. You know, basically, you know, you gotta explain this because, you know, I'm going in there and I don't know.
You're in the dark.
Exactly. So she was like, no, I'm gonna teach you this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be. She gave me a little bit of more pointers, and then she, you know, as I walked out, she said, I'm gonna call these people to make the appointment, and everybody that I handed to her made an appointment, you know, and so the manager from PA, he actually drove back from PA. He was halfway to PA. He drove back, returned so we can run those appointments, and you know, and you know, the rest is like, you know, history. That's how I started getting into the credit card business. You know, that week, I mean, I think we sold like 4 deals. You know, I made like, you know, almost $2,000, and I'm
So
you know,
so you were feeling the adrenaline.
exactly.
Kind of went back, and I would have to kind of say it went back to feeling like a sport, like the sport
Exactly.
that you were doing when you were on the streets.
Exactly.
But now it's a different hustle.
Exactly. Oh
Right?
man,
It's a different
100%.
hustle.
100%.
Because I can relate
100%.
to those situations where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I did this and I got this adrenaline rush and I got this high off of doing it this way, but now I'm doing this, and it's still, the feeling is the same, but now what you're doing is different, which
Exactly.
is a great thing. So for the sake of time, and for the sake of, you know, the story, we're gonna fast forward a little bit, or we're gonna go like, what made you go from there to say, I can do this myself?
Right.
Like,
Right.
What got you
Right.
there?
Okay.
Give me
Yeah.
the
So-
quick version on
Right.
how did that happen?
The quick version was, and what happened was, is that my father calls me one day, and he was like, "Listen, I want you to hear this article real quick." And he said, and he read it to me, and he said basically, credit card company looking for offices to open in the area, whatever, blah 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 blah. And he told me, he was like, "Hey, that sounds like the company you're working for." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yo, you know, give them a call and see what they say, you know." So he called me right back, and he was like, "Listen, we got to go down to Ohio, whatever. You got to go down to Ohio, whatever the case may be." And basically, you know, he wants in, you know. So I was like, "Yeah, let's go," you know. So we literally jumped in our car and we went down to Ohio to a company, and you know, they broke it down even more, because in this business there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of moving parts, you know. So sometimes you're only privy.
Well, that's
to,
job security.
Exactly. You're only privy
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like a quarter of it, and they kind of open things up like it. To like, I was like,
See the big picture.
yeah, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
That's
so you mean,
why that, yeah.
So you mean I'm supposed to be making how much more? You know, like that. You know, I was like, oh, okay, no, all right, we're in then. So from there, we paid. You know, we had to pay some money, whatever, and then we drove back. We opened up an office in downtown Rochester. We've been there now for about 15 years now, and
How many employees you started with?
at first, it was me, my father, and my oldest sister, Mireya, that she lives in Tampa now. It was just us three for the most part. I did all the sales, and then my father did pretty much the day-to-day, and then my sister as well, she did sales and things like that in the beginning, you know,
Yeah.
and things like that.
So fast forward now to 2015. As of this morning, how many employees do you have?
We have about 24 employees, direct employees, probably more than that, 24, and then I'll probably have about 25, 30 independent contractors throughout the U.S.
Oh, the U.S. And you are headquartered here, but you also have offices in Tampa.
Tampa, and we just opened up in Buffalo just now.
Okay.
Actually, like last week, if I'm not mistaken. Last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
And since it's a matter of public record anyway, what were your sales last year?
Last year,
Yeah. If you could talk about that, or if you want to talk about that, because I just
You're making a blush.
I just want people to understand the magnitude
Right.
of, for one, putting yourself in a position for 2 years. It seems to me like you were in a dark room, just trying to find a door.
And took a leap of faith.
And just took a leap of faith. So that's the reason why I asked that, because back then you said,
Yeah.
oh, $11 an hour, that seemed like
yeah,
a lot of money.
exactly.
So-
I mean,
so-
2014 we did, $4 million, and this year we're up, from now we're up over 26% in sales. So
26% of sales year
Up.
over year, yeah.
It's up.
Starting from back, and we're talking about 15 years ago, when
Right.
this was just an idea.
I mean, we talking about we want to talk about that. I mean, I went 6 months without getting a paycheck, without getting a penny, a
Yeah.
dollar. Like my first 6 months, it was brutal. We didn't, nothing. And when we finally was able to take money out of the company, it was like a $75 check for me and $75 check for my dad.
And it felt good.
What?
It felt good.
It felt like two.
Honey, we can eat.
Yeah.
McDonald's, but we can eat.
It felt like $2,000.
But that's, to me, the biggest thing is that people look at individuals, they look at businessmen, they look at, individuals, and they think that success came overnight.
Nah.
They don't realize
Hell no.
that for 6 months, I didn't make a penny. So for 6 months, a dude on the corner collecting cans was making more than what you were making, right? you still kept going.
Right.
Still kept going. Most people would have been like, I can't do this.
Right.
Let me go back to that $11 an hour job.
Right.
But you kept going.
100%.
Then you finally get a paycheck and it's $75. At that point, most people would have been like, $75? Wifey must have been like,
Close the doors.
$75?
Yeah,
Kids
yeah.
must have been like, I'll make more than that at my little summer, you know. So
I bully kids for more
and
than that.
to me is important because to be able to say, you know, we did $4 million in sales and we're 26% above that this year. That didn't happen overnight.
Right.
That didn't happen over. That was a lot of sacrifice.
Right.
That was a lot of blood, sweat,
Hell yeah.
tears. You know, and there was a lot of decisions.
A lot of uncertainty. You know,
A lot of uncertainty where there's
Risky,
no guarantees.
yeah, exactly.
There's no guarantees. So that to me
Well,
is the
scared
most
money don't make
important
money.
thing. And it is what it is. And you were willing to take a risk that a lot of people are not. And that's, to me, if there's anything that I can get anyone watching tonight, is first of all to understand this. We have someone that already started with their backs against the wall, that made decisions that most people would have never been able to bounce back from. Decisions that most people would now say, well, you know what, I gotta keep it real, and this is all I know, and this is what I'm gonna do. But you know what, a hustler is not a drug dealer. A hustler is not someone who could only do this or do that. A hustler is someone that can take nothing and turn it into something. That can go from 6 months of not getting paid to $75. That can take some work, put it on the block, and make some money. Doesn't matter what product you're hustling. A hustler is going to be able to make it work no matter what. And I think that's the biggest thing that I take from your story. You know, and you have still so much more to go. So it's not like you're where you're at.
Well, before you go that far, I have a question. In a nutshell, you know, for the audience mainly, what is First Capital? What do they do? What is, you know, like an elevator pitch type of thing? What is First Capital? What
Yeah.
do they do? What do you guys entail?
Right. So I mean, basically, we're a merchant service provider. So in the lamest terms, is we maintain the relationship with the business owner. So when you go to a place of business today and you pay with a credit card and they swipe it to the machine and all that, the business owner's paying a fee for that sale. Okay. First Capital Payments, what we do is we maintain a relationship between the issuing bank, Visa, MasterCard, and the merchant. So we have the ability to authorize, capture, settle, move the money from here, from there, whatever the case may be. And there's set fees that we have to account to Visa and MasterCard and the issuing bank. Anything that's left over is pretty much commissionable to us, you know. So we work on very, very small profit. I mean, my profit margin is less than 0.5%, but less than 0.5%, and you're processing, you know, 50 million a month, you know, well, that adds up to something, you know what I mean?
And that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
Once again,
so it's
that's
a volume-based business. you know, so
Absolutely.
it's not like, you know, like some businesses where they have huge markups and things like that. No, we're the total opposite.
How many vendors you think merchants you guys are dealing with right now?
Oh, and just in Rochester alone, we've got close to about 2,000 merchants.
So you guys the biggest provider right
Yeah.
now?
I would say so. Here in Rochester, New York, I think for, when you say provider, I think, you know, provider is more of a loaded question, you know, or it's we do so much more than that, you know, because our business has changed. In the beginning, it started off, yeah, let me save you money in your credit card processing and things like that, where, you know, that our model is different now. We're more of a business building partner. So we want to go into a place of businesses today and help the business grow. So if a business is doing, you know, $500,000 in sales, well, how can I help this business get from 500 to the next step, 750, 800,000? And we do that by offering different products that can help, that has a direct impact in their business, by a point of sale system that can help manage their inventory and keep pilferage and things like that, and order levels and things like that. Also, working capital, you know, if they need money to work, you know, to help grow their business, you know, that's what we do, you know, and it's all, and the beauty of it, that it's all in-house products. We own them, it's ours, we make the decision, and it feels good, you know. Even today, you know, I go on sales calls every now and then, a business right in the inner city, you know, and they need, you know, they have a good business, but they need the money. You can tell that's like, I just need that little bit of change right now, man, and they don't qualify. They don't qualify. But with us, we look at the big picture. You know, we look at it like, okay, you know what, you don't, and I tell them straight, like, you don't qualify. Ain't nobody gonna give you this money. Nobody, you know. But we're willing to take that risk. You know?
And I think, and you could let me know what your thoughts are, is it a lot because of you remembering where you came from.
Oh yeah,
and
100%,
remembering
man.
that-
100%,
that-
man.
Remembering those 6 months
Yeah,
of not being
yeah,
able to make money.
yeah,
That $75
yeah.
check that now kind of
Yeah.
brings it back. And that's what we need, man. We need
Yeah.
more businesses that run that way, that can understand. Yeah, obviously, you need to protect your business because you're in it to make money. That's why it's called business.
It isn't charity work.
It's not
Yeah.
charity work.
Yeah,
It's not volunteer
exactly.
work.
Yeah, right.
But it's also being able to have compassion, understanding, empathy, and knowing that, hey, you know what? I might give you a hand today and might grow you to become the business
Right.
that obviously is going to help
Me,
It's that
exactly.
one
Exactly.
hand washes
Exactly.
the other.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
We're running a little bit close on time. I know First Capital Payments, they can find it on the website.
Yep, firstcapitalpayments.com.
.com. And you guys can get all of the information there. We're talking about small businesses, big businesses.
Correct.
Doesn't matter
Correct.
what business.
What business you're in. Well, there's certain business we don't deal with, like, for example, if you're, porn and things like that.
Okay, yeah, you try to keep it.
Exactly.
All
yeah.
right, so keep it clean, keep it classy.
Oh, I was gonna say, well,
Keep it clean, keep it classy. But if you do
You know.
need business services, and you've heard some of the products and services that First Capital offers, but you can go to the website as well, firstcapitalpayments.com. I just want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
And I know you're not 40 yet, but I know you're there soon.
Yeah, yeah.
If a 40-year-old Hiram was looking at his 20-year-old self, what would the 40-year-old Hiram tell the 20-year-old Hiram? What would you tell that kid? 20 years old. Think back to when you were 20 and look at where you're at now. What would you tell yourself if you could do that?
When I was 20,
Yeah, what would you tell yourself?
I would have just said, keep working, man. It's going to clear up. It's going to get better, That's, in a nutshell, that's what I would have told
do
him.
you think that if you had not gone through those obstacles, you would have not, bumped into this opportunity? Because you were kind of hungry and you set your mind because you set a goal because of the things you've been through.
Right.
Had it not been for the oppression of the things that you've been through, maybe you didn't set these goals for yourself. Who knows? I'm just asking.
I don't, no, I agree with you, man. I needed to go through what I went through in order for me to be where I'm at. I believe in that, man. If it wasn't for this, if I would have went to school, and did things where I probably would have been better. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? All I know is that I'm happy where I'm at now. I'm in a much better place now. And, I hope that, maybe someone that's out there that, is in transition or questioning things and things like that, if what we spoke about today is a symbol of, hope, man, that means everything to me.
Well, that's the whole point of having you on is to inspire.
Right.
Because, if you can inspire one person that's just watching, if it's just one person watching,
Right.
ironically, the camera is one, right?
Right. Right.
But no, absolutely, it's just to inspire someone who may be going through some of the stuff that you had already gone through. Someone sitting at home thinking about, like one of those old Everest commercials, get up off the couch, do something with yourself. But absolutely, it's about inspiring ourselves, especially the people in our community.
Yep.
Regardless of what color they are. If you're going through something, you don't believe in yourself, there's an opportunity out there. You just got to believe in yourself,
Right.
get up and start looking for those doors to open up.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing is to believe in yourself and to know that, hey, you know what, regardless of what life is thrown at me, I can do this. And I think that you are an example of that. And this community needs more examples like that. And, I'm proud of the work that you do. I'm proud of the man that you are.
Thank
And I think the future and the sky's the limit. Well, not the limit, because the sky's just
Right,
a goal, another goal.
Right.
But
I heard that.
I think we need that.
Yeah, somebody told me, about sky's the limit or whatnot. One guy, I heard him speak, and he said life is like mountains, little big mountains, little mountains, and you just hope that you never reach the top of the mountain, because when you reach the top of the mountain, that's when, you're pretty much done.
The
You
ride's
just hope-
over.
Yeah, the ride's over. You just hope you never reach the top, and I live by that, But yeah, I'm sorry.
No. But that's what we're looking for, and I think that's an important thing. So anyone out there that's watching, whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching this recorded, whether you're watching this 6 months from now, what I want you to understand is that you are not a product of your environment. There's going to be some temporary setbacks, and there's going to be situations going to make you question the decisions that you make. But ultimately, if you believe in yourself and you focus and you go in there with a plan and you fight for that plan, and you take that risk, and obviously it has to be legal, because we know that 401k, retirement, only way you retire from the streets is a bullet in the head or
behind
incarceration. That's the only retirement plan. So to be able to take something from a negative to turn it into a positive, that's what we're all about. That's what Real Talk 360 is all about. That obviously is what you have proven that you're all about.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I want to make sure that someone that's out there that's watching realizes that that can be you too. But you have to really put your mind to it, and you really have to go out there and get it and not be afraid. You know how many risks we took on the streets? Like, when you look at the risks that brothers take on the streets, and when you look at the money that's really being made at the end of the day, when you look at the amount of hours you put in, also looking at the risk that was put in, it's crumbs. It's crumbs.
No, yeah, it's definitely not worth it. You know, it's not worth it. You know, and I know, like, you know, I used to hear a lot of people, especially in prison. You know, I want to change. I want to change, and they for real, man. They dead ass. They really, really want to change. You know, I believe them. You know, because I've been there. You know, but you got to know how to change. You know, it's one thing saying it, but you got to.
I want to hit the lotto.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hit the lotto.
Exactly.
Exactly. You can't go your life.
Exactly. You got. You gotta come up with a plan, and you got to be ready to sacrifice, man. You know, I mean, I used to go, you know, I disconnected myself from everybody, all my friends and everybody. I just, you know, I had to. You know, it was a difficult thing to do, but I had to, because I had to work on myself. You know what I'm saying? You got to work on yourself. Once I worked on myself and I became a better person, you know, then I came around and said, okay, because now I can have that conversation with you. You know, what am I doing? Okay, well, this is what I'm doing, and I can look you
in order to, and like they said, in order to get respect, you got to respect yourself first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you carry yourself with a certain level of respect, they start saying, "Oh, that's not the Hiram from before. This is a different Hiram, and I got to give him that respect." You know, he carries himself with respect. Got to give it to him.
And that positively influences other individuals. The ones that really want to change, they'll look at cats like yourself and say, "All right, you know what? Yeah, I need to do this." And from what I know of you, and I know a lot of us in the community, mentors.
Right.
There for, you know, hey, like I said, now we can talk. You know, it's
right, exactly.
You're accessible. You know, it's not.
100%.
It's not like, oh
100%.
well, yeah, I made it. You figure out on your own. I had to figure out on my own.
Right.
No. You can learn.
Yeah.
From my story, don't make the same mistakes.
Right.
You know, that I've made, and I think that's important as well, especially in the Latino community. We need that. We need to see it.
Absolutely.
These kids need to see brothers and sisters that look just like them to be able to say, well, you know what? If he did it, I can do it too.
Right.
That's why I wanted you on the show. Like, people got to hear the story, man.
That's what it
and
is.
I appreciate
So,
you sharing the story.
Thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate
So
it.
we definitely want to, you know, thank you once again for coming out, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And it's definitely inspirational, and it's, like I said, it's a work in progress. You're a work in progress.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
But firstcapitalpayments.com. Make sure you, for any business services, if you know anyone that's running a business, thinking about starting a business, you want to definitely come and
Look
talk
us
to
up.
this man right here.
Absolutely.
It'll definitely get you started on the right note. And on behalf of Real Talk 360, I want to thank you for tuning in. Once again, another week. We'll see you next Thursday. Thank you for coming out. God bless you.
Good night.
Good night.
And we are out.